Man, this dude need a Justin Johnson. You gotta turn yourself in, bro. Like, come on, man. You can't get away from all this. Plus, you already told on yourself in that music video, being at that house where they left the Benz at, already being into it. Dolph already put you in the mix, and you got friends. Your friends is JoJo Splat and CEO Bobby. So everybody already knew that you was tied into it, and now that they said that, it's crazy. And the reason why they put a 15K reward is because there's more people to look for. So they can't just put all the reward money on this one guy when it's still like 6, 7 people missing that need to come and be gotten too. So yeah, y'all just gotta understand, man, with these youngins, bro, like they so manipulated so easy, and everybody be putting their social media posts up talking about they hit licks, talking about they do this and that, incriminating themselves basically any chance they get. And then when they try to go do something slick and duck off and hide for a little bit, you already left a big digital trail, a paper trail of a bunch of just telling on yourself behavior, you know what I mean? And so you just can't be doing that kind of stuff. Plus, you was a rapper. Like, if you was really getting money and stuff like that on PRE, like why would you leave? I mean, if you didn't like your deal, then maybe he kind of got recruited to CMG. He was about to flip or get CMG was getting Justin to flip, and and otherwise it must have been because he had some kind of argument with Dolph about his deal or anything like that, because he was a PRE artist. So what else would he be doing that for, right? Like, if you really stop and think about why would Justin do this, it's probably got something to do with him not getting the type of money he wanted as far as on his deal for a show. Maybe he didn't completely own his music. Maybe he just decided to side with the ops. It could have been a situation where CMG kind of was paying him to be on their side. He just got out too. He had just got out. He was locked up and he came out, and then he does this. Same situation with Nip, where some dude was locked up and he was on technically in his camp. He used to be, and he came and did something too. It's the same kind of situation for some reason. Now, we really don't know what the his motive was, but that's how you know it's got to be some influence from all the other people that were involved. And it's like, what if Justin, once they do that, once they do that stuff at the cookie shop, they just follow the cameras in reverse and see where they're in the white band. So let's put the camera in reverse, see where they came from. Oh, they came from this way? All right, follow the camera up the street that way. And they get the white bands on airways further down, and then they get them on another camera where they're turning out of their hood. And then eventually, if you just look at the two cameras that is on the beginning and the end of whatever street of the house they were at before, you could easily identify who everybody was. Because you're going to be able to see, you keep looking at that same camera and you look at last night and up to the point where they meet up, right? And when they meet up at that crib or whatever, you just follow one person back to their house when they showed up, right? And then you could just do this because the cameras is already there. So all you really need to do is play the camera in reverse. and look at where they went and eventually lead up to the person's house, the suspect's house. Or you're going to be able to see a point in time where they didn't have the mask on. So it just depends how many cameras are in that area. But you know, in this day and age, it's cameras everywhere and you don't even see them. They're just out there in the open, they outside, and you're really not paying attention to it. So yeah, just keep that in mind. That's how they find the people. So they're talking about, they had evidence from the car. It could have been shell casings. It could have been this or that. But, they could really just do it all with the cameras and figure, look at where the car came from and just do it like that. Now, you could also do it with, where the car went. Once they drop the car off, like, you'll be able to see if you can get the closest camera to the house that they dropped that car off at. You're going to see them entering that neighborhood. You got to find the camera that's in that neighborhood. And if you could find a camera on every entrance exit area of that neighborhood, then you'll be able to see them pulling in, and you'll be able to see how they got out that neighborhood. Because it's really hard to move people around or be a person and move around and try not to be seen. Like, you're not invisible. Like, you either have to like hide yourself in the car seats and all this stuff, or you're gonna have to basically put on a whole different disguise. And they're not the type of people that are wearing disguises. They just try to cover their face. But once they drop the car off and they're leaving the neighborhood, whether they're walking out the neighborhood or they get picked up by a different car, you should be able to see that if there's cameras on the entrance and exits of those neighborhoods. And that's basically how you end up catching somebody, is that you really pay attention to their arrival and their departure, and you follow the cameras based off of that, where they're going. You see that they're in this car, follow that car. Okay, they got to this street, keep an eye on all the streets around it. You see any cars that entered the neighborhood, could they have picked them up? That's kind of how you do the whole thing. And, if you see a vehicle of interest, or you think that vehicle took them from the car from when they dropped the white Benz off, if there's a person that picked them up and they passed by a camera and 12 is able to pinpoint and narrow it down to a couple cars that they could have been in, you look up the plates and you look up the people in there, and you send a marshal to pull up on them when they least expect it, questioning them, getting them to snitch and tell them where they took Justin Johnson to. Or you'll just find out the area that Justin Johnson got dropped off at, and you can pinpoint, cell phone locations and who they know that might be in that area and stuff like that. And then you could, have the marshal pull up there, and they probably snatched them out of some, they're gonna snatch them out of some like girl's crib or something. Watch, it's gonna be some like girlfriend or something like that. And they're gonna find him probably hiding out in either like an abandoned property or like one of his girlfriend cribs or something like that. So Justin Johnson's girlfriend, you gotta keep an eye on her, or anybody that might be somebody that he talks to. You're gonna find out somebody he talked to, and that's how they're gonna get him on that. They're gonna get somebody to. When they say that you could be locked up for life, they're gonna tell, bro. People are gonna tell. So when they tell Justin that, hey, you got 25 to life, more like life, he's gonna tell who the other people were inside the store. He's gonna say, I wasn't the one. He was already down, da-da-da. He's gonna have to explain why he was aiming low. But they got one person, and they're going to use that person to have him snitch on the other people. if he don't want to go down for it. But he already got the record, so they could just stop here. They could try to just they might try to just stop here because they got a guy with a record, and it seems believable that he could be the one that um, popped the shot that got him. So, but I think what they need to do is get him to tell on the other people, specifically the dude's 007 scene hopping out the back. So if they can break him, they'll get him to try to expose the whole plan. Um, and if it was a plan made by like actual people like Makita's Gotti, da da da, etc. I'm not saying they're the ones who made the plan, but like if they were the ones who made the plan and it was among them, he's definitely gonna snitch because he ain't going down for none of that, their ideas. Now, if it was like a bigger cover up, like where the 12 is covering it up with him too, then it's gonna be hard to get him to snitch because, well, he could snitch, but he gonna say he's only gonna snitch on the other person in the white vans. He's not gonna snitch on the people that ran out the back. According to their plan, he's gonna say he don't know nobody that ran out the back and that there was nobody there at all, and it was just them two. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. But if it was just a plan between Makita, CMG, and a couple of these street guys and the security and all them, then he's definitely going to snitch and da 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 to get the time down. So that's what we gotta pay attention to is figure out um, when they interrogate him, we gonna try to get the interrogation or try to get the actual charges, the files of how much time he's looking at, and if it's a conspiracy charge in there. If he got a conspiracy charge in there, then that's how you know they are actually looking into the plans from whether it was like CMG Makita's and the security team and all that. So we're gonna figure out exactly what it was, and there's gonna be more update to come.